Civilizations rose and fell. Secrets of power hid beneath stone and fire. Empires whispered their stories to those who dared to listen. Every shadow holds a truth, every relic a revelation. Civilization did not begin with comfort. It began with terror, wonder, and a question burning in the dark. What kind of creature looks at lightning, death, stars, and dreams, then decides not only to survive them, but to explain them? Human history is not a calm march of facts. It is a fever dream of empires, revelations, machines, revolts, sacred visions, and dangerous ideas. It is the story of a species that turned fire into myth, myth into philosophy, philosophy into science, and science into power so immense that it can now redesign life and disturb an entire planet. At the beginning stood fragile humans under a brutal sky. Storms were gods. Fire was miracle. The hunt was law. Yet even in that primal world, the seeds of everything modern already existed. Around flames, people told stories. Stories became memory. Memory became culture. Culture became great discovery was not metal or mathematics. It was shared meaning. A tribe that could remember together could survive together. Agriculture changed everything. Once humans learned to plant grain, store food, and settle near rivers, they no longer lived only by chance. Villages became cities. Cities produced kings, scribes, priests, merchants, soldiers, and taxes. Civilization was born from surplus, but surplus brought hierarchy. In Mesopotamia, writing emerged not as poetry first, but as accounting. Grain had to be counted, land had to be recorded, trade had to be tracked. Out of ordinary bureaucracy came one of humanity's most supernatural powers, the ability to speak across centuries. Ancient Egypt added another layer to the human drama. The pyramids were not just tombs. They were declarations that stone, geometry, and belief could join forces against death. By food alone. They survive by symbols. People must believe that their world has order, purpose, and connection to something larger than themselves. Then came the age of thinkers, when humans stopped merely surviving reality and began interrogating it. In Greece, philosophers asked what the world was made of, what truth meant, and how a person should live. Socrates would walk through Athens like a storm in human form, dismantling false confidence with questions. Plato warned that most people live inside a cave of illusions, mistaking shadows for truth. Observation, logic, and balance, arguing that virtue is formed through habit, not accident. Yet Greece was not alone. In India, the Buddha examined suffering with an almost surgical precision. He taught that much pain comes not only from loss, but from attachment and craving, from the mind's desperate demand that life obey its wishes. In China, Confucius argued that society depends on moral character, discipline, duty, and respect within relationships. Lao Tzu answered from the opposite direction, suggesting that force and control often destroy the harmony they seek to create. Across civilizations, the same mystery kept returning. What is the right way to live inside a world of chaos, desire, and death? Empires rose as answers to disorder. Persia, Rome, Han China, and other vast powers built roads, laws, armies, and administrative systems that connected millions. Rome especially became a machine of organization. It mastered engineering, law, and military discipline. But Rome also revealed a permanent truth of history. No empire collapses only from enemies outside. It weakens when corruption, inequality, and moral exhaustion rot it from within. Religion transformed this political world by Judaism bound law to Mary. Christianity gave spiritual dignity to the poor, the suffering, and the humble. Islam unleashed a civilization of immense intellectual brilliance, preserving and expanding knowledge in mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and philosophy. In Baghdad and beyond, scholars translated ancient works and tested ideas through reason and observation. Ibn al-Haytham's work in optics was revolutionary because it insisted that seeing was not enough, claims had to be tested. That instinct helped prepare the way for modern science. Then the universe itself was overturned. Copernicus displaced Earth from the center. Galileo lifted a telescope and found imperfection in the heavens. Kepler discovered mathematical harmony in planetary motion. Newton united falling apples and orbiting worlds under the same law of gravity. The result was shocking. Humanity was no longer standing at the obvious center of creation. The cosmos became vast, lawful, and indifferent to human pride. Science humbled humanity while giving it astonishing new power. The Enlightenment took that spirit of inquiry and turned it toward politics. Thinkers like Locke, Montesquieu, Rousseau, and Kant asked whether reason could redesign society itself. Could power be limited? Could rights belong to individuals rather than rulers? Could government derive legitimacy from consent rather than bloodline? These ideas exploded into revolutions. The American Revolution declared liberty. The French Revolution proclaimed equality, then plunged into terror. Its lesson was brutal and unforgettable. Ideals can become monstrous when certainty turns into fanaticism. Next came the Industrial Revolution, the age when humanity captured energy at scale and chained it to machines. Steam engines, factories, railroads, and mechanized production changed time, labor, and everyday life. Productivity soared, but so did misery. Cities filled with smoke, workers endured brutal hours, children labored in mills, and communities were reorganized around wage labor and industrial discipline. Technology did not merely create tools, it rewrote society. Karl Marx saw in this transformation a system that could generate wealth while alienating workers from their labor, their products, and even their own humanity. Then biology shattered old assumptions. Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection revealed that species were not fixed creations but outcomes of endless variation, struggle, and adaptation. Humanity was not separate from nature in some simple way. It was one branch on the tree of life. This discovery was among the most powerful blows ever struck against human vanity. Later, genetics deepened the revolution. Mendel uncovered patterns of inheritance, and the discovery of DNA showed how life stores information. Biology became not just description, but code. Medicine, meanwhile, entered one of its most heroic ages. For millennia, disease had seemed like curse, fate, or punishment. Then germ theory revealed that when invisible organisms caused infection, Pasteur and Koch transformed medicine. Semmelweis, before them, saw that hand-washing could save mothers from death, but his contemporaries resisted him. His story remains chilling because it proves that evidence alone does not defeat pride. Humans reject truth when truth humiliates them. The 20th century arrived like an explosion. It brought airplanes, radio and cinema, antibiotics, relativity, quantum mechanics, total war, genocide, nuclear weapons, and computers. World War I destroyed illusions that modernity automatically meant progress. The Holocaust showed propaganda obedience it could combine into industrialized murder. Evil did not always arrive screaming. Sometimes it arrived in uniforms, files, schedules, and trains. Yet the same century also reached beyond Earth. Einstein redefined space and time. Physicists unlocked the atom. The moon landing showed what organized and humanity became capable of walking on another world while remaining capable of annihilating itself at home. That contradiction is the modern condition. Computers and the internet accelerated everything. Information became fluid, instant, and global. Alan Turing helped define compute-dark irony. Societies often persecute the very minds that transform them. With digital technology came unprecedented access to knowledge, but also manipulation, distraction, surveillance, and algorithmic control. Social media did not invent vanity, tribalism, or outrage. It gave them amplification, speed, and profit models. Modern philosophy grappled with the collapse of certainty. Descartes searched for indubitable truth in thought itself. Hume showed how much belief rests on habit rather than pure logic. Kant argued that the mind helps structure reality as we experience it. Nietzsche declared that old moral frameworks were dying and warned that nihilism would follow unless humanity created value with terrifying honesty. Existentialists like Sartre and Camus faced a universe without guaranteed meaning and asked how freedom, choice, and human responsibility could coexist with uncertainty and chaos. Psychology added another twist. Humans are not masters of their own minds. Freud argued that unconscious drives shape thought and behavior. Later research on conformity, obedience, bias, trauma, and attachment revealed how fragile rationality can be. People follow crowds even when crowds are wrong. They obey authority even when authority harms. They cling to beliefs that protect identity, not truth. Yet humans are not only weak, they are also astonishingly resilient. They rescue strangers in disasters, endure hardship, and innovate in adversity. Remarkable. Consider also the myths themselves, because myths were never childish errors. They were early theories wrapped in narrative. The Greek myth of Prometheus stealing fire is really about forbidden knowledge, rebellion, and the price of progress. Pandora's box is not just a tale of curiosity punished, it is a psychological map of unintended consequences. In the Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh, a king confronts friendship, grief, mortality, and the desperate human desire to escape death. That ancient poem already anticipated many questions we face today. Historical turning points are often carried by moments exposing giant systems. When Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon, he did more than move an army. He shattered a political norm, proving that republics can die when ambition learns how to wear legality like a mask. When Martin Luther challenged the Catholic Church, the issue was not only theology, it was authority, literacy, and access to truth. Once printing spread ideas quickly, religious rebellion became a media revolution. Every new communication technology has always transformed power. Science itself often advances through collisions between data and cherished belief. When doctors first used anesthesia, surgery ceased to be terror and became more precise and humane. When penicillin was discovered, infection stopped being an almost mystical threat and became, at least temporarily, something chemistry could defeat. But even triumph contains warning. Antibiotic overuse created resistance, showing up again that every victory over nature can generate a second battle. Human behavior in groups deserves special attention because crowds do strange things to the mind. Individuals who have seemed decent alone may become cruel in mobs, passive in bureaucracies, or heroic in communities of solidarity. Revolutions, genocides, stock bubbles, and internet pylons all reveal the same frightening principle: emotion spreads faster than reason. But courage spreads too. One person refusing a lie can interrupt a chain of obedience. One witness can puncture propaganda. One example of sacrifice can awaken a sleeping conscience in thousands. Even love, one of the most private human experiences, has shaped history in public ways. Dynasties rose and fell over marriages. Wars were justified through loyalty and lineage. At the personal level, attachment drives huge portions of human decision-making. People do not merely seek truth or wealth, and they seek belonging. A child who receives stable care often develops resilience. A child raised in fear may carry vigilance into adulthood. Entire cultures, in a sense, are enlarged emotional systems, repeating wounds, rituals, aspirations, and defenses across generations. The future may be the strangest chapter. Biotechnology allows humans to edit heredity. Artificial intelligence challenges old assumptions about thought and creativity. Space exploration raises the possibility that the dream of leaving Earth may become practical. Yet none of this cancels the ancient questions. A civilization can be technically brilliant and spiritually lost. It can have infinite data and little wisdom. It can connect billions and still leave millions lonely. That is why the study of history, science, philosophy, and human behavior matters so deeply. That is why figures like Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and Viktor Frankl matter so much. They show moral courage is not myth. Gandhi turned nonviolence into political force. King fused prophetic religion with democratic ideals. Mandela emerged from prison without surrendering justice to revenge. Frankl, surviving concentration camps, argued that even when everything is taken, a person may still choose meaning. These lives are not sentimental stories. They are evidence that inner freedom matters. Now humanity stands in another turning point. Climate science warns that industrial power has planetary consequences. Neuroscience reveals mysterious. Artificial intelligence expands human ability while raising unsettling questions about labor, bias, creativity, autonomy, and control. We can edit genes, train machines to generate language, and observe galaxies billions of light years away. But our moral dilemmas have not vanished. They have become more complex, intertwined with power, technology, and knowledge. So what does this entire epic reveal? That history is not the tale of progress alone, nor of collapse alone. It is the struggle between wisdom and power inside a creature that possesses both imagination and appetite. Science gives explanation, but not purpose. Technology gives capacity, but not restraint. Philosophy gives frameworks, but not automatic virtue, but can become domination. Human behavior contains love, cruelty, fear, hope, and resilience simultaneously. Civilization survives when knowledge is guided by humility, when power is limited by ethics, and when human beings refuse to let convenience replace conscience. From the first firelit myths to quantum theory, from pyramids to processors, from ancient sages to machine intelligence, and still asks, late at night, the oldest question of all: now that we can do almost anything, what should we become? That is Petra, not a quiet summary of facts, but a monument of human striving. A species rises, names the stars, invents gods, questions gods, builds empires, breaks empires, studies life, splits atoms, creates algorithms, and still asks, late at night, the oldest question of all: now that we can do almost anything, what should we become? This is the final lesson embedded in history, science, and imagination. Civilization did not end with survival. It is the ongoing pursuit of understanding, meaning, and purpose. Petra stands as a testament to the human quest across time and space. If this journey moved you, subscribe, share your thoughts and comments, and share this story forward. Let history live through you, and let curiosity guide what comes next.